Hey guys, welcome to 5 Minute Friday again. I'm Val with the Hardesty Team. Today I'm going to talk to you about foreclosures. We get so many calls on people wanting to see properties that are either pre-foreclosure or in foreclosure, or they're active for sale and after foreclosure, and everything is so confusing sometimes that sometimes buyers just don't know what's available to them, what they can purchase, when, how, and I'm just going to break those things down for you real simply. So let's talk first about pre-foreclosures. Okay, so when you go to a site like, let's say Zillow, and you see that there's a property that says pre-foreclosure on it, lots of times you can click and it'll send you to a realtor because you're interested in knowing more about that property, right? Well, the thing about pre-foreclosures is they're not actively for sale. That's just public information that sites like Zillow or Realtor.com or other sites have collected that they post as like public information. Whatever they've retrieved about that property is indicating in some way that this property is fixing to go into foreclosure. Yes, I said fixin'. It's fixin'. This is Kentucky, y'all. Okay, and so when you run across a property that is labeled foreclosure, that property it still applies to the same rules as if it were a pre-foreclosure, although now it's just in the process of foreclosure. So the bank is in the processing of getting that property back. And so again, the same stuff applies as a pre-foreclosure. It's not actively for sale to purchase. Now, of course, there are ways to purchase those properties if you know people who know people, or you know the seller or something. But going through a realtor, we cannot help you purchase a house that's in pre-foreclosure or in the process of foreclosure. Which leads me to what we can help you with, which are properties that have finished going through the process of foreclosure. They are now owned by the bank and they are back on the market, active for sale. And it will say active for sale, ready to buy, ready to receive your offers. Here's the kicker. When you're making an offer and you're negotiating with a bank now. You're not negotiating with the seller. So that can take some time. Also, another thing buyers aren't always aware of when making an offer to a bank on a property that went through the foreclosure process and is now active is that sometimes the bank will charge a fee to use their website, and that can be anywhere between like $100 and $200. And that's just to submit your offer. So there's some fees involved that people are sometimes unaware of, and there is also some other things that you might be unaware of. Those things are that the buyer is now 100% responsible for any repairs that might be done on the house. Now, that's probably in like 90% of the cases. It's not always, every house is different. It's just gonna depend on the house. So what do I mean by that, 100% on the buyer? Well, starting from the beginning, if your offer gets accepted, well, now we have to get an inspection done, okay? But in order to have that inspection done, the utilities have to be turned on. So that is an expense that will fall on the buyer as well. You got to turn on the utilities to get the inspector to come. Once he comes, then he may point out some stuff that's problematic that we'll have to line up with if those issues are cosmetic in nature or not. Because if they are, they may pass FHA, for instance, or KHC guidelines, if that's what you're using. But if they are not cosmetic in nature and this house needs a ton of work, you're going to have another option, which is going to be cash or a small local bank that will loan you the money to purchase the house. But with those types of loans, typically they require 10 to 20% down. And so in that case, you're going to have to have the cash anyway, which if you're buying a $100,000 house, I mean, you can do the math, 10 to 20%. It's a chunk of change. So the most important thing is knowing what kind of financing you're going to use first. That way you can know what kind of active foreclosure you should be looking at. So I hope that information was not confusing at all. I know it can get overwhelming. It's difficult when websites just post all this information and you're like, I love that house. That's the one I want to buy it. I'm calling my realtor. Well, with foreclosures, we got to back it up a little bit. And the main thing is just knowing, is that foreclosed house finished with the process and active for sale back on the market? And also knowing what kind of financing you're using, so we can know ahead of time what we might be getting into with repairs and things that may or may not move forward in the process. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful, and you guys can give us a call anytime. We can further answer any questions you might have, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.